Hello, everybody. This is the 2026 Easter giveaway results video, and Easter entries were due by April 4, 2026. In this video, we'll go over some of the results. The purpose of the giveaway was to give away $2,200, but we ended up doing 2,250 because of a little surprise that happened. And that does not include fees that I often pay when sending you guys your gifts. There was supposed to be 20 prizes randomly drawn from correct submissions that followed the rubric, and that happened. And there were supposed to be two prizes for pleasant surprises. Each of those was $100, but we had a runner-up also get 50. Before the $2,200 giveaway, we had given over $6,720 away so far, starting August 16th of 2025. So we are well over 9,000 now because we had Easter and some Saturdays, and every Saturday we give away money. This was only up until March 3, and now this video is on April 12. We're way over 9,000 so far. And we have all these places where people have won, which I've read about before. There was a rubric, and most people followed it. A few people did not. The submission was due in a Google form by April 4, and I have basically 4 Google forms out there, and people submitted sometimes more than once, but I only used their most recent submission because they sometimes would edit. The one issue I had a lot of times with the rubric was the drawn by hand issue, because unfortunately it looked like some people were using AI, and it says no computer drawn lines or work seen. So for our next holiday, I'll have a twist to that I've come up with. The two wild cards were Anil in India. That was the one that I chose, and Cam in India, which is the one that Aunt Mango chose. But Aunt Mango had a hard time choosing between Cam's and Atif's. And so Cam ended up winning, but because it was so close, we gave Atif a $50 prize. That was a surprise. And then these 20 winners ended up being different than these three. So nobody was awarded more than $100. And in the whole list, I'm still waiting to hear from Gopinath and Gorley and Robbie. Everybody else has communicated with me. So let's look at the surprise winners. Aunt Mango's runner-up. This one was Atif, and it really has a different look to it than every other one I saw. I don't think AI did it, from what I can tell. And this is a really pretty circle, obviously. And this is the stone. And Atif had a positive overlap. So the area of the stone was larger than the area of the opening. And he used, I think it's a he, used a typical opening with the rectangle and the triangle. But if you look inside it, he has those labeled, but then he shaded over the top. And again, it doesn't look like an AI shading. The AI shading right now usually goes outside of the lines, which his didn't really do. And the main reason why Cam got the edge for Aunt Mango's selection was these mess ups over here that got kind of scratched off. My runner-up, it looks way different. And this is Sahanish. My runner-up was not as close, so it just gets a honorable mention not an official runner-up prize. We didn't even plan on having runner-up prizes before we started, but this net is really stuck in my head. Now, the story didn't have anything to do with the net, but Hanish was going on a tangent, kind of adding a lot of stuff. And just the drawing of this net is like super interesting to me. And it still is. It just sticks with you. And this is not all that Sahinish did. This is just one of the pages that drew my attention, even though that's not what the story is about. This was Hanish's extra thing. The full Easter egg winner for Uncle Benny is this one. Again, I don't think it's AI. The ones that used AI looked way different than this, but I don't know for sure. The reason why this one won for me was this is the only one, pretty much the only one, I think, that showed the inside of the tomb, mostly, especially with this much detail. And I was really thinking about it when I made up this whole challenge. I was thinking about the inside of the tomb, and the story says it was a new tomb, which makes a person think that it was not used yet. And, Anil has the straight lines here that look like they were done by hand, and the shading, it's just really fascinating to me. And then there's also a two-dimensional drawing over here that supposedly the rich people tombs would have had a dip here so that the curvy stone would fall into the groove. His does not have that, Anil's. That's okay. And then I also saw Anil's pies look like that. A lot of the people in India did that. They made their pies look like that. Thought that was kind of interesting. But there were other people who drew the hill over the tomb, but this is the only one I remember seeing that had anything close to that much detail on the inside of the tomb. It would hurt my feelings if this ended up being AI. I don't think so. For our next challenge, we're going to have a process pick that will help me be able to tell that it's not AI also. So this was my grand prize winner. And then we had Aunt Mango's here. So this is Cam's. This was the one that was close to Teef's. And we could have chosen the same one, but we didn't. I chose mine first, and I pretty much didn't tell her. So you can see when she was having a hard time deciding between the two, they are similar in terms of, I don't know about effort, but they have a similar like style to them. But Cam's ended up with the edge. And these eyes, by the way, remind me a lot of like Southeast Asian art style. They're real big and shiny looking, which I thought was really interesting. And because I thought it was interesting too, besides Aunt Mango liking it. They both do have a circle, and I don't know if they know each other. I like this therefore down here, the three dots. We use those three dots in math a lot. And it's not screaming AI to me. Doesn't look like it so much to me right now. But if you're watching this in the future, it probably could have been, right? So both of them had a positive overlap, more so Atif's. Atif's was more of a positive overlap. And actually, Atif's opening was more complicated than Cam's, but it wasn't required to have a triangle if you didn't think that a triangle was involved with the opening. the reason I had the triangle there was just to help remind people about triangles. So those were the results of the Easter 2026 giveaway. It's our biggest giveaway yet on a one day. And if you know Gopinath, Gorley, and Ravi, please have them check their emails and reply to me. Everybody else I've worked on already. Next in line for an Amazon.in card is Navneet, who I'm talking to. And everything else is going well. So have a great day.